Meeting for Monday, August 21st, 2006 to order. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Arbogast.
Here.
Alderman Garnis.
Here.
Gieselbeck.
Here.
Heller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Meisenheimer.
Here.
Solberg. Walder.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
And York.
Here.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the minutes of the City Council meeting held August 7th, 2006. Can I have a motion, please? So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Wilson. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, then all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 2 is ordinance number 06-17. The rezoning of Lot 1, Block 1, Interstate Office Edition from Business Park District to Highway Commercial District. Sarah?
Yes, this is a small parcel located right across the street from Walmart to the east. And take the lid off here. Right here. It's on the corner of 13th Avenue Southeast and 29th Street Southeast, and it's currently zoned business park. And the request was to have it zoned C3 commercial, and all the surrounding area is C3 commercial. The staff didn't have any problem with that.
Okay, we'll begin with a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to the issue? If not, then we'll close the public hearing and go to council action. May I have a motion then to approve ordinance number 06-17? So moved by Alderman Gieselbeck. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3 is ordinance number 06-18, amending the zoning district boundaries by rezoning portions of the city's R2 single-family attached residential district to R2-A single-family attached residential district. Herb?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. In your agenda packet includes ordinance 06-18 and Plan Commission Resolution 2006-34. Also, our June 27th letter that went out to almost 2,700 affected property owners in Watertown. Also an 8-page excerpt from the First District Association of Local Governments Non-Conforming Lot of Record Identification Project that we embarked on last year. We spent quite a bit of time on this particular ordinance in the public notification and participation process because of the number of people affected to get the word out, so hopefully we'd have a smooth meeting here tonight. Again, almost 2,700 letters went out to affected property owners June 27th. We put announcements on the city website as well as GovTV, got on What's Up, and also did articles with the Watertown Public Opinion on July 11th and 13th. We had an open house July 12th. About 24 people attended that meeting or that open house. Also, staff made telephone contacts based on call-ins, people coming in to visit. However, with about 100 additional people beyond that, we'd had 78 through the Plan Commission hearing date. Plan Commission public notice was July 8th, and a public hearing was July 20th. We public noticed this public hearing on August 11th, and had City Council first reading August 7th, and we're here for second reading. From one handwritten note from the public from Miss Marilyn Olson dated July 17th, it said, "I think this should be left as R2 single family attached residential." Some background: in 2004, 2005, and to a limited extent this year, we saw a large number of Board of Adjustment actions dealing with side yard setback issues in the existing R2 single-family zone. Can you bring that one back up?
Just without the R2?
Without the R2A on it. The aerial here will depict the R2 zone in Watertown. As you can see, it's quite a substantial portion of our city, and was a lot of the, especially in south and southwest Watertown, a lot of these properties were certainly platted before an ordinance change that we anticipate took place sometime in the early 80s, as far as our research can indicate. Certainly had different standards for how we designed and allocated parcels. So we, based on all these Board of Adjustment actions, we asked the Plan Commission and Council for authorization to get First District to do a study for us. And that study indicated approximately 65% of the lots of record in the R2 zone didn't conform due to lot area or lot width requirements. And basically, there's a direct correlation between how these lots conform with side yard issues, et cetera. And so, if you think about it in terms of all these lots, potentially if somebody wants to make an improvement on their property, whether it be enlarge their garage, put on a patio, if they got a non-conforming lot, every one of those actions had to go to the Board of Adjustment. So at this point in time, you're talking $100 for a variance request, $16 for publication, and then additional expense that goes out in registered letters to each affected adjacent property owner. So the Board of Adjustment directed staff to, as a result of this study, to rewrite the ordinance, come up with ordinance language, and then to go through this rezoning process. Earlier in the spring, we changed the ordinance to create language for the R2A zone, and now we're doing the rezoning in order to provide more flexibility to property owners to make improvements, increasing buildable space for smaller lots, and in essence making it easier to get a building permit. We're hoping what this will do is bring what has been about 35% of the lots that were in compliance before to hopefully about 90. We won't fix everything. This isn't a Band-Aid for every single instance out there, but we think it will catch a majority of the issues. Some highlights of the rezoned district is minimum lot size decreases from 9,000 to 6,000 that's a single family residential structure. Reduction of minimum lot width from 75 feet to 50 feet, again single family residential. And reduction of the minimum side yard setback from 9 feet to 10% of the lot width, but not less than 6 feet. Land use will be identical to what we currently have in the R2 zone, and we don't this doesn't allow for an increase in the number of individual parcels from which currently exist in order to preserve the existing development density in the areas. A couple of notes: when our letters went out, inadvertently we sent letters to property owners in the Bourne edition. They were included in the mailing even though they weren't identified in the study. I'm not sure how that happened, but we requested to the Plan Commission that they not be included in this rezoning. Additionally, some areas on map 10 of the study indicated some lots in the Westview addition that's new development and needs to comply to our existing ordinance. So both staff and the Plan Commission recommend to specifically exclude the Westview addition properties from this current rezoning action. With that, I'll shut up and see if there's anybody else that wants to talk, or be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Herb. The next action is to open to a public hearing onto the issue. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the council in regards to this issue? Just please come up and identify yourself.
My name's Les Jenkins. I live out in 16th Street Northwest. Can you tell me, this is my biggest one, why just that? Why not the whole town? Why do you just have that older section of the town? Why not everything?
Because The other portion of town, the newer portion of town is zoned R1 family residential, which is a different zoning classification.
Okay. When you do this, what's that gonna do to our property value?
Not a thing in our estimation. In fact, we think it'll probably enhance it a little bit because this, in essence, provides the property owner more flexibility to do things on their property than they currently have.
I don't agree with you.
Les, how do you
And
think is,
I don't agree with why you haven't got the whole town in it either. Cause there's a lot of places that you don't have in the green there that are just like our part of town. That could be built onto, but you don't have them up there. And I guess that was one of my questions. And I guess that's about what I was gonna ask. And then also, when you send something out, send it out so somebody can read it. I bet there ain't half you can read what's on this piece of paper in the picture.
I would comment, that's the first we've heard that comment, Mayor, so if that's an issue, we apologize, but we didn't know that was an issue.
You can't even read what the streets are or anything on it.
Oh, you're talking the map.
Unless you got a magnifying glass.
Our intent with that particular piece of paper wasn't to emphasize the map, it was to emphasize when the public hearings were, figuring that people had questions, they would come and see us like we wanted them to.
This tells you what part of town you're in though, not just
Exactly.
the map or what you're doing. So next time do it, get it so people can read it. Guess that's all.
is there anyone else here to speak to the issue?
Afternoon, folks. I'm Ralph Bateman. Been a resident here. I'm a Johnny-come-lately. I've only been here for 32 years, so I just wanted to find out what is the difference between R2 and R2A, one thing, and could you light up where I live and let me see what effect it's going to have on my property?
What's your address?
816 2nd Avenue Southeast, corner of 9th Street and 2nd Avenue South.
I guess I'd ask the question whether we want to do that in this hearing, or we would rather have the property owner come upstairs where we've got more time to spend with him. And
That's all right with me. I got nothing but time. I'm retired for 19 years now. Fine with me.
I'd say go ahead and answer his question. Sarah's already got it pulled up on the screen.
Got the white.
See if I can put some street names on.
while she's locating that, I can answer the other question. The difference between the R2 zone, which is what everything is currently zoned, is the standards for the R2 zone are minimum lot size of 9,000 square feet, a minimum lot width of 75 feet, and a minimum side yard setback of 9 feet. What the R2A zone, which if this rezoning action passes tonight will allow, is more flexibility for property owners because those lot width, the lot area requirement will reduce to 6,000 square feet. The minimum lot width will reduce to 50 feet, and the side yard setback will reduce down to not less than 6 feet.
Okay, well, I've got another question then. 'Cause my lot is on a corner. My house is on the front part of the lot, the northeast corner, and I still got a big yard in the back there. Now, is this they can't make me build something there, can they, or sell it or anything like that?
No.
Our intent is not to do anything that you don't want to do with your property.
Okay, well, I just want to get that straight. I've been through the ringer with you people more than once, so thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Anyone else to speak before the issue? If not, then we'll close the public hearing then and go to council action. Is there then a motion to approve the ordinance number 06-18? So moved by Alderman Meisenheimer. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Wilson. Any further discussion or questions?
I just
I
have,
have a question.
How about one at a time here? Mr. Alderman Solberg?
Herb, on new development or somebody planning to build, can they now build under the R2A?
I guess I'd defer to Ken, but I believe as long as they meet the requirements of the regulation, they can.
Ken, would you want to step forward, please? Probably isn't fair to you, but we're going to need some clarification from our building inspector.
You bet. As long as the lot exists as a 50-foot parcel right now, it has a buildable right on it, or larger. So currently, if you own a lot right now that's out there as a single parcel that's at least 50 foot, that lot still has a buildable right, so you can build a new building on there. Now, if you got a lot that's say 100 foot, and you try to split that into 250s, that's not allowable. You can't do that. You have to maintain your 100-foot lot and build on that one.
Ken, how about a new development?
A new development, you're not going to have a new development in the R2A zone. All new developments are going to be treated like R1, R2, or R3, whatever it's going to be zoned at in the current thing, and then that'll have to apply to the current regulations of 75 feet, 9,000 feet, and the 9-foot side yards, or 7 foot if it's a PUD or something.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah,
Oops, go
just,
ahead.
I think what you were trying to get at is in the event that we platted a brand-new development, an R2A zone potentially could be put into it by the planning commission, or do we prohibit like a brand-new one that would come in that's not even part of the city right now?
Honest, and I didn't tell you this in my dissertation, but this is a closed zone. We're not going to add to it.
Thank you. Alderman Garnis?
Dennis asked the same question I was going to.
Okay.
Regarding new developments.
I
Okay.
just had one comment too,
Yes.
Mayor. Is it not true, Mr. Bloomquist, that a lot of people didn't even realize there was anything unusual about their property until they decided they wanted to build a garage in the back? Then they found out that they had to pay this fee, go before the Board of Adjustment, and then that's not even a guarantee that the Board of Adjustment would grant them that request. They may have a perfectly good reason for wanting another garage in the back or whatever they're going to build, but the Board of Adjustment has to say no because they were going outside of what was required in their neighborhood. So really, this is a favor to those people that, and I don't think a lot of people realize, because I live in one of those houses that got the letter. I agree with you about the map, by the way. My husband had that same comment. He couldn't read that map. But I think a lot of people are going to be glad that they did this because now they can save that couple of $100s or whatever it would have cost them to go before the Board of Adjustment. So it really is a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 4 is second reading of ordinance number 6-19, changing the municipal sales, service, and use tax rate from 1.9% to 2.0% effective January the 1st, 2007. And Shauna?
Thank you. We've gone over this in the previous meeting, and I'll just kind of briefly review. Watertown is still one of the 2 cities of the 14 first-class cities that have not gone up to the 2% rate. The additional revenue that's generated from this will go into the CIP fund and be used for future capital improvement projects. I guess I would address any questions you might have that we haven't already covered.
Approximately how much will that generate for us, Shauna?
Approximately $590,000.
Okay. With that being said, may I have a motion then to approve the ordinance number 6-19? So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Wilson. Any further questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5 is authorization for the mayor to sign a contract with First District for an amendment to the comprehensive land use update addressing future development along the southern connector not to exceed $2,000. Herb?
Thank you, and you did a pretty good job already, Mayor, of elaborating what we're asking for here. But in your packet is that agreement between the city and First District. As you recall, here in 2004, we did revise the comprehensive land use update. Along the southern connector, there are actually a few land parcels that we didn't anticipate in development because of proximity to the river and the focus not to be going in that direction as much as we anticipated. Now with this change that recently occurred as part of the state's 5-year transportation plan, and the city choosing to follow the priority of working on the southern connector earlier than or before the northern connector, we anticipate there will be a lot of demand to look at land use and anticipate additional economic development. So what we'd like to do is get ahead of that wave and ask First District to do an update for, I believe there's 5 sections that are affected by this transportation route, and so we want to take a look at that and come up with some potential land uses. The contract has been set up in such a way not to exceed $2,000. We do have sufficient funds in our drainage master planning budget line to handle this request. So therefore, I'd ask for your favorable consideration for the mayor to sign this agreement.
Is there a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Garnos, seconded by Alderwoman Walder. Any further questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6 is approval of a truancy officer agreement with the Watertown School District for the 2006-2007 school year, and also a memorandum of understanding. Stanton? Or, I'm sorry, Randy?
Good evening. It's not on your agenda, but there's also there's an SRO MOU that's involved here, a School Resource Officer Memorandum of Understanding. The first one I would request authorization to proceed with would be a truancy officer agreement. It's identical to last year. State law requires that the school appoint at least one truancy officer, and the Watertown Police Department is going to take on that responsibility.
Okay. Could I have a motion then to, so moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any further questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Randy?
And the second one would be our SRO MOU. We're having 2 SROs this year, and we've applied for a grant. We haven't heard back yet. We're very hopeful that this grant will come through for us. What that will do is that will fund 1/2 the salary of one of the SROs for 2 years, and it will also fund half of their needs, like in a laptop, for example. And that was submitted approximately a month ago, and we're still waiting, but we're very hopeful. And if the grant comes through, then they'll pay obviously for 1/2 of one of the SRO salary. The MOU calls for 50-50 funding, high school system and the city. And I would request authorization to proceed with that.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderwoman Arbogast. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. Any questions or discussion? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Item number 7 is authorization to advertise for bids for construction of the 11th Street East Storm Sewer improvements. Dave?
Good evening. We're asking for your authorization to advertise for bids for this project. This will be a project that hopefully will get started this fall and be completed during the next construction season. But we wanted to get it out as soon as we can so that we can get started on it this fall.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Could I have a motion then to authorize the advertising for bids? So moved by Alderman Walder. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any questions or discussions for Dave? If not,
I have a question. Dave, for the people listening, can you, on 11th Street between which avenue, north and south?
Well, actually, none of it is directly on 11th. What it is a branch that comes off of 11th on 2nd Avenue South, one that comes off on 1st Avenue South, and one that comes off on Arrow Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
But they're all off the 11th Street system.
Any other questions for Dave? If not, then all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dave. Item number 8 is authorization to advertise for bids for a motor grader for the street department. Mike Rye?
Thank you, Mayor. That's just what that is asking authorization to advertise for bids.
Could I have a motion, please? So moved by Alderman Giselbeck and seconded by Alderman Garnos. Any questions or discussions? If not, then all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Item number 9 is renewal of the ATV agreement with Sheehan Cycle. Randy, were you gonna mention that?
I'll tackle that one. As you all remember, back in May, we reached an agreement with Sheehan's. They loaned us 2 really nice ATVs that we equipped with our police equipment, and we've been using them. That expires September 1. And I've been talking to Sheehan staff, and they're agreeing to extend that same contract or agreement through up until November 1st, at which time we'll renegotiate. And as a side note, we've really been able to utilize them. They've come in real handy, especially for special events and such in patrol functions. And so I would request authorization to extend this agreement through or up until September 1.
Thank you, Randy. Can I have a motion then to authorize the renewal of the agreement?
So moved.
So moved by Alderwoman Arbogast. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Did you
Second.
misspeak, Randy? That was November 1, right?
November 1, yes.
Yeah. Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any other questions or discussion then for Randy? If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Randy. Item number 10 is update on Camp Chance.
If you'll excuse me, take me just a couple minutes to get it ready here. Well, I'm James Albert. What I've got here is a PowerPoint, and while it's loading, I'll just explain a little bit to you. What we did during Camp Chance, we took lots of photographs so that we could get you folks updated on how camp went. What the slideshow is it's basically it's 120 slides with miscellaneous pictures and things that you can review while I'm giving you a kind of an overview of what we did at Camp Chance. So while this is loading, I'll just take a couple minutes here to get ready. There it is. It's a big presentation. I apologize for that. Once again, just a quick review on Camp Chance. What we did is we set up a camp for youth that were having difficulties for whatever reason, loss of a parent, parents separated, at risk for whatever reason. And basically what we did is we put together a camp to increase rapport with law enforcement, with the public, and just kind of give the kids a chance to work together and increase their awareness as well. The program itself was started in Florida. It was brought back by Chief Vitek. I was granted the role of the coordinator for the camp. I assembled a steering committee composed of many different organizations, including the Human Service Agency, the Police Department, Bramble Zoo, school educators and counselors, Boys and Girls Club, Game Fish and Parks, and local businesses, to mention some. Funding came in many different forms. Obviously money was one of them. Water bottles was donated, portable facilities were donated, many more things were donated, including time. We achieved, I believe we achieved our goal of setting up good rapport with local youth. We had a really good time. Students were given lucky bucks for good behavior, and the lucky bucks were taken away for bad behavior. And all in all, I think the kids came out really well. What they did with the Lucky Bucks is at the end of each 3-day period, we set up a Camp Chance outpost store, and they got a chance to utilize those Lucky Bucks that they had earned during the week to buy different things. Just a couple of things that were on there were some sticky splat balls, some dinosaur grabbers, beach balls. There was candy, cars, just lots of different things that the kids were really interested in. It was a lot of fun for them. We had a lot of fun joining them as well. I believe that Camp Chance achieved our goal of setting up good rapport with kids and built good self-esteem, and we had a good time doing it. We look forward to doing it again next year. We have a lot of different things that we're looking forward to that we'll probably be announcing in the future, as far as different locations to have the camp and some different things that we're going to do during the camp. So we're really looking forward to that, and I guess that's all I've got to say, but I'm going to pass it on to Lynn Langerak, who's going to share some more with you.
Good evening, Lynn Langerak with the Police Department. Some of the things that we learned from the kids at the camp, some personal stories that just kind of impacted us and what we were doing with the kids. I was only one of a few volunteers, as there were dozens and dozens of people. So obviously I wasn't with every kid all the time. And these are just some of the stories that I was aware of, that I was working with kids directly. I'm sure there's many more that some of the other volunteers know about that I'm not aware of. A few of those I'd like to share with you tonight. One boy, I believe he was a second grader. We had burgers and chips and a fruit cocktail for lunch one day. And he didn't eat his burger, and he actually saved his bag and he asked for a second one. And just kind of talking to him why he didn't want to eat his hamburger, because he was going to save it for later because he didn't have anything to eat that night. And the second one was for his brother. So just to kind of impact, what he didn't have. Another boy didn't make camp. I believe he was a third grader. And for whatever reason, he wasn't out there, so it was my job to track him down and figure out where they were, why they weren't there. I tracked him down, and he didn't have any transportation. So I picked him up and put him in the car, and as we were driving out there, I asked him if he had breakfast this morning, because all the other kids had already been at camp, and they were on their way doing their thing. And his reply to me was, no, we don't have much food at our house. So, of course, we got him out to camp. We got him hooked up with some good chow and got him on his way with the rest of the kids. Water day. First grade boy. Everybody, of course, is in life jackets, safety first. And we had boats, pontoons, jet skis, and I think that was all a raft, I believe. And he would not get in the boat. He'd go in the water up to his knees by the dock, but he would not get in the boat. We tried to coax him in. A few of us tried at different times, just absolutely wouldn't get in. And finally we got him on the boat, got him a little ride. And as it turned out, the reason he wouldn't get in the boat is because when he was littler, not that he was real big now, but he was boating with presumably family, and he was thrown out of the boat in the middle of the lake, and whoever was operating the boat drove away and left him to float in the water. So he was really scared, and I think we kind of helped him overcome that a little bit. Some kids, everybody got to ride horseback and go out in a boat and fish. Some kids had done one or maybe two of the things. Some kids had done them all. One kid approached me and said he'd never done any of those three. So he got to ride a horse, and they got to ride the horse 2, 3, 4 different times. And they went around boats and jet skis as well as they went fishing. One boy, I guess during camp, and especially at the end of the camp, as the kids got to know us a little bit, they would come up and just give staff, you'd see them giving staff hugs. They'd want piggyback rides. They'd want to jump on your back, and as they got comfortable with us, and just a good example of what the camp meant to them and the impact it had. And as the slides go by, you can just see the numerous different people that were out there volunteering. One kid the next week at a gas station. I just happened to be there. He recognized me, come up, all smiles, talkative. Maybe he would have approached me in other situations, maybe not, but it was just nice to see a child like that come up and approach me outside of the camp after the fact. Probably one of the most heart-wrenching stories was a young girl, second grader, I believe, maybe third. She, unbeknownst to anybody, she ate half her hot dog. One day we had hot dogs, chips, and applesauce, and of course donated by a local business. She ate exactly half her hot dog, she ate exactly half her bag of chips, and she ate exactly half of her applesauce. Put it in the bag and put it in her little carry bag that we gave all the kids. And nobody knew this. She brought it home with her, or she brought it back on the bus, and she's waiting at the police station, which is one of the drop-off points. And it was sitting on the step. And one of our staff members that works at the police department saw a bag, presumed it was garbage, and threw it away. Unbeknownst to her, it was this kid's supper. And about 15 minutes later, this kid comes back looking for her half a hot dog, half a chips and stuff. And, well, it got thrown away, and, sorry, but we kind of hooked her up with a little bit of food for that night. Realizing their situation, asking a few more questions, some people in the community got together, threw some cash basically in a hat, and the social services that this family works with went and bought the family a bunch of groceries, the eggs, the milk, the basics that we take for granted, and gave it to Mom, which very appreciative. She was very appreciative for just those little things. In talking with and again, our other staff members, I happened to be driving by, heard their house a few days later, about a week later. And before I say that, this girl couldn't ride a bike. We had bike safety, as it showed on one of the slides. I think she was 8, had never really been on a bike, and had no clue how to ride. So she had to be held up while she practiced her bike safety. So anyway, fast forward now a week or a week and a half later, just happened to be driving by their house, and she's outside on her brand new bike, or what it appeared to be, frilly things off the handlebars, had a horn, had a white little basket in front. They live by an alley, and she's cruising up and down that alley all by herself, no training wheels, like there's no tomorrow. The next day I mentioned this to our support staff at the police department. Turns out she, our detective secretary, brought this girl a bike, because she has an older daughter that the daughter doesn't use anymore. So she brought this girl and her daughter's bike and a couple boxes of clothes to her. So, I mean, and there's stories like this go on and on. The slideshow goes about another minute. I tried to gap as long as I could to take up that time, but I'm about done. James, do you have anything else?
Actually, I was going to share one more thing. Just to show you how much fun we had. At the beginning of week one of our icebreaker activities was we were lined up in each of our groups at each of our tables, and what we were supposed to do is one of us would think of an animal that started or sounded like the first letter of your name. My name is James, so I was James Jellyfish. So I had to come up with something, so I waved my hands like this and said James Jellyfish. The next person would say, I'm Kelly Kitty, meow, and this is James Jellyfish, and she waved her fingers like this. Well, all 3 weeks I used the same James Jellyfish. And by the end of the week, you'll notice at the end of the slides, when it shows a group photo, there'll be a regular group photo and another group photo with everybody's arms up in the air. That's because they're all doing the jellyfish. So we all had a lot of fun. That's our advertising there. We all had a lot of fun with it, and basically that's about it. We only have a few more slides to run out here, and then I guess that's really all I had. The last slide in the presentation here is basically a picture of the back of the t-shirt. It's got all our sponsors on there, because it's very important that we had our sponsors, and I'd like to thank each and every one of them. I don't have a list in front of me, but I would just want to say for all the sponsors that were out there that are listening, or if anybody sees one of these Camp Chance shirts with all the sponsors on the back, take the time to thank them, use their business, and there I am right there, jellyfish picture. But anyways, like I said, I just want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to do this, and I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to it again next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have some lights, please.
Mayor, I have one question.
Yes.
I understand that you had a waiting list for Camp Chance.
Yeah, we sure did.
Do you plan on expanding this next year?
There's talk about expanding it, yeah. We've talked about increasing the class sizes, as well as possibly going on more than 3 days. We had three-day sessions broke up in grades, but yeah, we are talking about making the class sizes bigger for this next year. So.
And with that, I approached the council, I believe it was a month ago now, about the raffle. That's going full steam ahead. The businesses that I've approached about sponsoring items for the raffle have been, it's almost to the point I have to turn people away. I have too many prizes. Any businesses that want to participate, however, for next year's camp, we're planning on a golf tournament. There's all kinds of opportunities. Contact James Albert or myself. We're more than happy to talk to you about that. We're just, with the funds that are coming in, I think with the raffle and the golf tournament, we're going to be able to accommodate many more kids. We have some other things lined up as far as facilities too that are going to be even better than what we had. So things are really looking good. We're going to be able to accommodate more kids, and the future looks bright.
Thank you very much, fellas.
I think this is a great way to reinforce to the community that there are lots of avenue for help, and in a town like this, I don't think we want to have any of our kids in the situations that some of them are in. But a lot of people are just afraid to ask for help, or too proud to, or whatever. But hopefully this will break that down, and I mean, because there are a lot of resources out there and a lot of businesses.
And they're stepping up now.
Jump at the chance for something like this.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 11 is the Urban Stormwater Quality Newspaper Ads. Chad?
Good evening. As we're kind of getting set up here, I just want to, as a presenter out at Camp Chance, then I just want to say that it was a wonderful experience and give one more plug for the program. and the wonderful things that it did. Seeing the youth out there and the looks on their faces and the wonderful time that they had, who maybe otherwise would not have had a chance to do the things that they got to experience out there. So a very, very good program, and I hope to be involved with it again next year. So, okay, I am here this evening to basically just give a brief update. And is there any way to... Yeah. Basically just give a very brief update in the two stormwater education programs that have recently taken place, not only here in the Watertown area, but across the state as well. The first one is we just have a couple of representations of the series of 4 stormwater education pieces that were put in the Watertown Public Opinion. And this right here was the first one. This ran in the Public Opinion on July 31st. And obviously, remember, you're not just fertilizing your lawn. And it has the picture, all of them have the picture on the left side and then some sort of stormwater-based education on the right-hand side. And moving on to the second one, again, washing your vehicles. Washing your vehicles, everything that runs off your vehicles, all the soaps, all the detergents, all that goes down the storm drains. Obviously, it drains in our case, into the Big Sioux River. So very, very important once again. And moving on to the next one. This right here, I have talked to many, many people. This was by far the most popular picture. We've got the dog right there kind of doing its business and looking around. And again, very, very important. There's a lot of, there can be a lot of problems with this as far as pet waste getting into the storm drains and eventually into the Big Sioux River with all the problems that is associated with that, such as bacteria. So again, another very, very important one. The one prior to that, the car, that ran on August 5th. This one ran on August 9th. And then the final one we have, remember, it's not just toxic to you. This one ran on August 12th. And again, all these were in the Watertown Public Opinion. And I want to thank the Public Opinion very, very much for their assistance in running these pieces. And also, I just want to, obviously there's no one here from the organization, but I want to thank the pictures on the left-hand side actually came from an organization in Michigan called SEMCOG, which stands for Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. They are actually one of the first in the nation to have to do the stormwater Phase 2 programs from EPA. They have a wonderful, as many years as they've been doing it, they have such a wide variety of educational materials, and they're by far the most pleasant people to work with. They have absolutely no problems with anyone else using their materials, using the pictures that they have, so I want to thank them very, very much. So again, that was in the local paper here, the local Public Opinion. And that was what was, as you can see down at the bottom, that was a cooperation between the City of Watertown, primarily Rick Schlechter, and myself over at the Redland Freshwater Institute.
Any questions for Chad or comments?
We've also got a statewide radio program going too that kind of goes hand in hand with this, right?
Yes, and actually, to moving on to that, that's
the South Dakota Stormwater Outreach Alliance radio spots, Chad?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And what this is basically this running in conjunction with the newspaper ads locally here. We had the statewide Stormwater Outreach Alliance had a series of radio spots that were run on not only the local radio stations around here, but radio stations throughout the state. So kind of here in Watertown, I kind of wanted to tie the local printed material with the advertisements that are on the radio. And if we can get... Oh, just keep talking, she says.
You shouldn't have a problem with that.
Oh. But, well, while Sarah's working on that, in case anybody is wondering what the Stormwater Outreach Alliance is, it's a statewide organization that is made up of agencies not only here in Watertown, but Aberdeen, Brookings, Huron, Mitchell, North Sioux City, Pierre, Rapid City, Spearfish, Sturgis, Sioux Falls, Vermilion, ourselves here in Watertown, and Yankton, and then Pennington County and South Dakota Department of Transportation. So those are the organizations or agencies that are part of this group that are working collectively to come up with for new educational materials to be used statewide. And are we ready? Yeah. All right.
so we can stay outside and play. Storm drains.
Then where does it go?
The water just goes away.
There is no away. Stormwater drains lead directly into our lakes, streams, rivers, and ponds, not through treatment plants. So everything going down the storm drain, like motor oil, fertilizers, pesticides, soil, even pet waste, goes into our water. The water we drink, swim in, boat on, and enjoy. Clean water. It's South Dakota's clear choice. It can only happen if we all do our part. Brought to you by South Dakota's Stormwater Outreach Alliance.
All right, and that was the first one. We'll have the second one up here in a second. And both of them, if you'll notice, listening to them, have children involved with them. Go ahead. Sorry. That's all right.
Here. I'll do it, Daddy.
Thanks. Now, we cast and wait.
Daddy, why is the sky blue?
That's a tough question.
Okay, why is the grass green?
Well, that's because of something called chlorophyll.
Then what makes the stream brown?
That's because of soil erosion, which I'm afraid is because of us.
Dad's right. Soil washing into our rivers, lakes, and streams is turning South Dakota's water brown and murky. And it's not just soil from construction sites. It's dirt from our lawns and driveways that pollutes our water. Plus, fertilizers, pesticides, motor oil, even pet waste wash down storm drains and go directly into water we drink, swim in, boat on, and enjoy. Clean water. It's South Dakota's clear choice. It can only happen if we all do our part. Brought to you by the South Dakota Stormwater Outreach Alliance.
And those were the two ads that were run. And once again, those were ran from July 31st to August 12th. And once again, they ran statewide across the entire state of South Dakota. So.
Okay. Anything else, Chad?
I don't have anything else.
All right. Thank you very much, Chad.
Thank you.
Good job. Moving on to item number 13 was the consideration or approval of a business license for RNS Sanitation Incorporated, doing business as GS Sanitation for a commercial garbage hauler for a fee of $25. There's a motion to approve the business license?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Johnson. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Meisenheimer. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. If you move to the open now, item number 14, you have a separate agenda piece of paper. We have four items on the open this evening. Beginning with number 1 is an update on the Veterans Memorial, and we have two of the representatives here, Laurel and Leroy. Would you like to step up here and give us an update? You gonna let Leroy do all the talking, Laurel? Okay.
I will make this as very brief as I can.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know where we're at on the monument. So far, we've got all the all the cement laid. The wall is up. Over 1,700 names on the wall so far. We're room for probably 400 to 500 more, but they'll go fast. Benches are in place. Sod's halfway done. Just got another load of sod in tonight. Lakeland's taking care of that. That'll be by tomorrow night. It'll be finito. It'll be finished. We also wanted to let you know, the council know that we've put your money to good use. I believe we've diverted some of it to the city park, which we've put a playground in out there for right close to the Veterans Monument.
Two picnic tables.
And picnic tables.
Drinking fountain.
Oh yeah, plus a drinking fountain. And we want to let everybody know that Saturday, the 26th, at 3 p.m., we want everybody there that can make it. Please come. The governor will be there, along with the mayor, of course. And Tim Johnson, Stephanie Hirsus is going to send a rep. We haven't heard from Thune yet. And our guest speaker is a prisoner of war. We'll leave them. Leo Thorsness will be our guest speaker. Any questions on the monument? Have anybody not been by it yet?
I might just say I was out there today. It's a fantastically beautiful addition to the park and to the city. Thanks, fellas.
We thank you.
It really did turn out nicely. I was there yesterday, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all we had. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We've got 33 states
Oh, yeah.
represented, one of them's Hawaii.
Wow. Good. Okay, agenda item number 2 on the open is the plat of Northridge 29th edition, resolution 06-39. Sarah?
This is a replat of a portion up in Northridge. It's, if you could refer to your packet for the map in there, it's the condos which are on the private cul-de-sacs in there. It goes along with their preliminary plan for the area. It did show this being part of it. The road's already in place. All the utilities are there. No infrastructure at all is needed for this. The Plan Commission has reviewed the plat and recommends your approval of it, and the staff recommends approval of it. Have any questions?
May I have a motion then for the approval of resolution 6-39?
So moved.
So moved by Alderman Garnos. Is there a seconded by Alderman Giselbeck? Any questions or discussion for Sarah? If not, then all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Number 3 is a temporary appointment to the Planning Commission. And Stan, would you like to kind of give a background on that in regards to Dale Miller?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As most of you know, under South Dakota law, the City Council may temporarily add to our Plan Commission a resident of an area who will be affected by the city's exercise of its 3-mile extraterritorial jurisdiction on a subdivision plat approval. On Thursday, August 24th, the Plan Commission will be asked to take action on the plat of Lanew's 3rd Edition, which lies approximately 1.5 miles from the city limits of Watertown. In light of that fact, I believe Mayor Fox intends to recommend to you folks tonight that the council appoint a resident of the area and be temporarily added to the Plan Commission when action is taken on that plat. It's located near Lake Pelican. It's going to be west of the city about 1.5 miles, and the proprietor of the platted property is John Nagy. But I believe Mayor Fox has a name that he'd like to recommend that you temporarily add to the Plan Commission when they take discussion and action on that item. And Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Stan. I would ask for the council's approval of Dale Miller. Dale serves on the township board, I believe, out there, right, Stan?
The Lake Pelican
Right.
Preservation
Preservation Society, yes. So he was more than willing to serve in this capacity. So could I have a motion then for his approval? So moved by Alderman Solberg. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderwoman York. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Stanton. Item number 4 is Doug Dahl to discuss with us or bring us up to date on the automatic defibrillators.
Right. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I just thought I'd take an opportunity to show you where some of the money went. If you remember, a couple months ago, maybe Lieutenant Don Rowland and Captain Greg Nollner talked to you and showed you a automatic external defibrillator demonstration up here. And we had undertaken this program called PADS, Public Access to Defibrillators. And at that time, the council had approved some money to be used along with Prairie Lakes Hospital and the Community Foundation. This is the cabinet that will be used, installed at businesses. As you can see on the front, it's got the Watertown Community Foundation, Public Access Defibrillator, Watertown Fire Rescue, Prairie Lakes Hospital logos on it. These will be installed by the businesses that have purchased these. We had thought, excuse me, we had thought initially that if we could do 10 to maybe 20 the first year, we'd be in good shape. So far, we've got 44 businesses, churches, et cetera, that have requested them and paid for them. And we have gotten them, received them, and they'll be going out. The training will be starting. Don and Greg are going to be in charge of the training for that program, and I'm not sure exactly what the time frame is on that. But as soon as they're trained in the use of it, they'll be installed in their businesses. So I just thought maybe you'd want to see what it looked like and, know where the money's being used. So,
thank you.
Question.
Yes.
There's been some unfortunate publicity about some defibrillators being recalled. It's not this company.
Not that I'm aware of. Don and Greg are both are kind of they're heading this project, and so I haven't been involved in it that much. Chief Youngman was out of town today, so he asked me to come to the meeting, and I said maybe we'll show him this. And I knew a question like that might come up, but I'm not really don't really have an answer. I don't think it is. I haven't heard anything negative about it. I'm not exactly sure which one of the defibrillators they're having an issue with. But Don was and Greg are both teaching that ICS class tonight, so they were not available. But neither one of them have said anything to me about it. So rest assured, we will check that out, and if there is anything, they'll be rectified before they're released to the businesses.
Thank you, Doug. Any other questions?
So Doug,
Yes.
every defibrillator will have a box like that.
Correct.
And will be in kind of a visible area.
Right.
of the
It'll be
business?
placed in the business, the church, wherever, the school, wherever. I don't have a list of the 44 people that are businesses that have applied for them, and there have been others also. But they will be, once the training is done and they're certified in the use of it, then between us and them, we'll pick a spot that'll be, accessible to the, the most accessible. Now, obviously, some of the factories are big, but we also don't want it stuck in a corner somewhere where it's not going to be, readily seen or available. So it'll be highlighted. It'll be in a spot where it'll be, clean and everybody will know where it's at. Also has this doesn't have a locking system on it, but it does have an alarm system on it. So when it's opened up, if somebody, tries to take it out and steal it or something, or something's going on where they do take it out, it's going to alert other people to it. We're going to work with the businesses on the location of it to make sure that it's, visible and easily accessible.
Great job.
And the ongoing training for it will be done by us. So.
Doug,
Yes.
what was the cost of those in case there's others out there that might want to participate?
I knew you was going to ask me that.
It was around
And
18
As I said, I haven't. Maybe somebody else is.
It was around $1,800.
Yeah.
Thank you, Herb.
Okay, thank you. I really didn't. I knew that was going to happen, and neither one of those people were available today, so I could ask
That's
them
okay.
that question.
That's okay. Any other questions for Doug? If not, then thank you very much, Doug.
Sure.
Moving on then, is there anything else to come before the open? If not, we'll move on to item number 15, which is old business, and we were short a member to the Fair Housing Board because of Judge Bradshaw's requesting not to serve again. I would ask the council's approval then for Merlin Jeitz, who has said that he would be willing to serve on the Fair Housing Board. Merlin's a retired businessman, now is doing in real estate, and so I would ask for your approval for him on the Fair Housing Board. Could I have a motion, please? So moved by Alderman Meisenheimer and seconded by Alderman Solberg. Any questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 16 is new business. Is there any new business to come before the council? If not, is there any liaison member reports? We will need to go into executive session for a short time to discuss some contract negotiations, and we will not be taking any council action when we return. So if I could have a motion to go into executive session. So moved by Alderman Giselbeck. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderwoman Arbogast. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We will now go into executive session.